Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another perfume review. Marvelous. That is right, my friends. Once again, I have returned to you with a perfume review. And the perfume we are reviewing today is a very special one. It is my vintage 1980s re-release of the Eau de Toilette Cuir de Russie, made by Jacques Polge. This fragrance review will follow my tried and trusty technique of telling you the notes, such as I can find them, telling you what notes I get, and then discussing the fragrance at length. Okay. So, the notes for this perfume, it really is, you pays your money, you takes your choice. Where do you want to take the notes from? Couldn't find any for the 80s release, but I'm going to take them from the 2007 Eau de Toilette Les Exclusives re-release, you know, that Jacques Polge did. He reformulated his own work, which I think is actually the best way to do things. If you're going to reformulate stuff, you should reformulate your own work. And I think you can tell when perfumers don't. They're reformulating someone else's work. It shows. That's a topic for another video. But the notes for this perfume, the Eau de Toilette, orange blossom, bergamot, mandarin, rose, jasmine, ylang ylang, birch, leather, musk. The notes that I get: orange blossom, jasmine, rose, ylang ylang, birch and leather. I know that's a lot, but this will come up in the review. So I'm not going to go through the history of this fragrance. It's been talked about ad infinitum, and frankly, if I try to recite it, there's more chance of us getting stuff wrong than getting stuff right. A lot better people, proper reviewers, people who have deeply invested in the brand and things like that, they've done this and talked about the history of it and why it's there, and why it's such a historic fragrance. I'm going to talk about the smell, actually. So let's spray it. Let us spray, friends. We are gathered here today. Let us spray. Wow, that has completely changed the colour. You won't be able to see that. I've been around the fragrance community and videos long enough to know that when you spray a card and you show it to the camera, you can't actually tell what the juice has done to the strip, but it's changed it. Okay. You start off with a little bit of freshness, like it's a little bit like Shalimar. You get this tokenistic, fresh kind of bergamot, random, it's the thin end of the wedge of the perfume. It's got that slight fruitiness, and I think most of it comes from the orange flower, you know, which is probably the only white floral that I genuinely like. You know, I love it in Cuir Canage, and I'm going to mention Cuir Canage a bit later as well. That sticks around for about 5, 10, 20 minutes. And then you really start to get into the heart. The fruitiness from that bergamot dries off very quickly. The mandarin orange and the orange flower conspire to lead you down the garden path towards the mid, which is the classic Chanel mid. Now, that Chanel DNA mid is the ylang ylang, jasmine, rose heart. That floral, bright, dark, balanced, intelligent, classy slightly irisy, powdery kind of vibe that goes on. I think that vibe's coming more from the rose. Like the rose in this is quite powdery. The jasmine's got that kind of slight dirt to it, and the ylang ylang kind of gives a creamy sort of vibe, and it's the communication, the coherence between that mid, it's absolutely fantastic. It really is where you can find out what a perfumer is worth, and it's no sort of it's no surprise that they chose Jacques Polge, and Jacques Polge has proved himself repeatedly to be one of the best perfumers ever. And it must run in the family because Olivia Polge is absolutely fantastic as well. But up to that point in the mid, you would be forgiven for thinking, where's the leather? Where's the dankness? Where's the fuss? Where's the darkness? The animalic kind of aspect to it. That comes later. It makes you wait. It's a dry down worth waiting for. It's kind of like the opposite of what modern fragrances are like. Modern fragrances, including the new version of this, the modern EDP version of this is I hate to say it's a pale imitation. It really is neutered, castrated, compromised by the ingredient bans, you know? It really is, I'm afraid to say. I know that being a vintage fan, you hear this a lot from people like me, and it's same old sort of thing. But you have to smell this alongside. You have to smell the modern versions alongside this to know what that really means. Surprisingly fresh and light and powdery at the top. It smells very grandmother-ish. Excuse me. It smells beautiful, actually. It smells very classy, very nice, but it smells like that 1920s, 30s. I mean, the 40s, less said about the 1940s, the better. But there were a lot of good perfumes that came out. That kind of powdery aspect that was very prominent in almost like all perfumes up to the mid-1950s, 60s when Rudnitska came out with a couple of perfumes that were very different. It's not until you get past that kind of powderiness that you are exposed to what is the soul of the perfume. The life and soul of the perfume. And I don't mean life and soul of the party. I mean life and soul. I mean, this is a deep, rich, human meets nature, humanity being part of nature kind of perfume. It is completely uncompromised by the futuristic, avant-garde, abstract aspect of modern perfumery, that kind of robotic smell. You know, this couldn't be further from that. This is class. It's old class. And the heart is that birch, leather, tobacco kind of, that old world, unregulated by anything but taste. This came out in the roaring 20s, right? So this was crafted in the 20s, and then it was revived in the 80s. So you have to think, if you imagine those were 2 decades of massive excess and of parties and of unregulated, uncompromised fun and expenditure and self-indulgence and laissez-faire. Freedom in a way, Freedom if you could afford it. The heart gives that depth, that kind of dark side of that excess. There's weight to it. It has to be paid for later, you know? And that's what goes on in the far dry down. Not even in the far dry down. I don't know why I said far dry down. It's not even in the far dry down. I'm talking like after an hour or so. You get this animalic, musky, jasmine, cigarette smoke kind of vibe that lasts and charms and lives with you, but it's like the moth being drawn to the flame, except the flame is dark. And it's a fragrance of like heading into the future. It's one of the great things about history, you know what happens next. And that's what this starts out fantastic. It's all new and brilliant and fun. And it descends into a dark place. But still fascinating. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. I've decided to sell this. In fact, I have sold it. I don't know why I've said I've decided to sell it. It's sold. I don't wear it. The reason I don't wear it, I think, is because of the florals in it, the powdery aspect of it. I don't like powdery aspects of perfumes. Very few and far between. I feel like when you wear this, you've got to dress a certain way, and I don't like dressing that way very often. I have used it, and I've loved it, and it's an incredible wear. If you can find vintages of this, it is orders of magnitude better than anything you will find on the market today, including the latest iteration of this perfume. I've sold it, and I know it's going to a good home because the person who contacted me to buy it said, I found you through Ramsey's channel. So that is good. I'm glad about that. It makes me feel better for selling it, but it did have to be. It did have to be sold by me. I wasn't using it. I don't want to say I wasn't worthy of it, because I loved it, but actually keeping it around just to look at it like a dragon sitting on his treasure hoard, it's not right. I don't think it's right. To be honest, and that's the only thing that matters because it's mine. I don't think it's right, so I'm selling it to someone who's going to use it, you know? And they're not going to sit on it and just look at it and say, wow, that's amazing. And yes, it's sad letting things like this go, but I've had it and experienced it, and a lot of other people haven't. I've had the eau de toilette of this from the Les Exclusives, and that's also not a patch on this. So yes, I have lived the dream, friends. I have lived the dream, and now it's someone else's turn. Kind of like the way the perfume is. Gone but not forgotten. Thank you very much for watching, everyone.